Everything about this movie is simply powerful. And it's crazy because a month ago, I picked watching Civil War over watching this because I thought they were going to share the same release weekend. After watching Civil War and feeling the way I felt about that movie, and coming out of the theater for this, I wonder how I get these choices wrong all the time. And I'm just happy they did not share that release date and I got to watch this film in the theater. And I'm just going to start with the beginning of this film. It doesn't start the greatest. I'm going to be completely honest. I feel like it's a bit too slow and with its introduction, and it just gets everything weird, just dropping that, and that, and ends up just being not the most cohesive way to start this film. And at the end of the video, I will say that there's no minute wasted in this film. And my response to that future statement is that the moments at the start were a bit sluggish and technically wasted minutes. But there are parts that it did add to the story, especially considering the way it was foreshadowing events. But when this film gets off, it gets off. And I just love how the entire film is constructed, it's told, and it's directed. Love that most of the runtime is told during this one tennis game, and we go back and forth with the flashbacks. It's a bit distracting how they put the point in time that they were in. Wish they put it more of like the year and the month that we're in rather than 12 years later or 8 years later. It's a minor thing, but I would be lying if I did not say it didn't confuse me, especially at the start. But yeah, the use of flashbacks to keep this story keeps you thrilled, engaged, and eager to just see how this game will play out. Yeah, we've seen stuff like this in other movies. The one that comes out from my head right now is Guy Ritchie's The Gentleman. But it's never made me feel this type of way that I just felt with this film. And besides the great story and direction it pulls off, it would not have been possible without the performances on display. Mike Feist and Josh Connor, just stellar performances. Bit of a spoiler here, but just the rivalry between these two. And I feel the movie is not really making you pick a side, especially from the start. It just points out this is the bad guy and it sticks with it, but then it gives you more as you go in the story, and it just tends to make you feel sorry for one, and it all combined to be with this terrific ending. And how can I talk about the characters and not mention Zendaya? She is the reason you're watching this. She's the star, and I think this is the first time I have also watched Zendaya in something that she's the lead. Well, maybe apart from like Casey Undercover or something. But oh my goodness, she is so good in this. She is so good. So good. She just delivers and delivers and delivers. And this has to be an Oscar nominated performance for her, surely. Like, surely she has to be Oscar nominated for this. Her ability to do what she is doing on screen, witnessing that enough, is the reason why you should watch this movie. Makes me want to see Euphoria and just see how much of a great actress she can be, especially when she gets that limelight. So clearly, the film got the story and the characters right, but it's still a sports drama, especially one that is using this jealousy, this love, this vindication, and there's also a sense of redemption. All of that channeled into that one game that the whole movie is based on just translates so well. And director Luca, I do not know what your last name is, I'm not even going to attempt it. I will be honest, I've never watched any of your films. Not Call Me By Your Name, not Bones and All, but my goodness, if there was any sign to check up your filmography, this film is just waving it around like a bad signal. And I've been talking about the tennis, so I might as well just talk about that right now. The way this film is shot to make us feel that tension. Because emotionally, as I mentioned, we are there. Especially for the last 15 minutes on an emotional level, I was, to speak for myself, I was locked in. I was so invested in this game. Never watched a tennis game in my life, but this film made me hooked. But if you remove that emotional side of this film on a technical level, this film's ability to make me so invested in how the game was going, the shots that was just one player playing the game, the shots that the audience were just looking back and forth, the shots of them preparing to serve, and just adding this weight even in the shots of the game itself, it's edge of the seat entertainment, along with the sound design to add that thump, that weight. But I will admit, towards the end, there was this part where they were having this like first person view as they were playing tennis. I respect the creativity, I see the vision, but personally, that was just not for me. And on that note, besides what I mentioned at the start about this film being a bit slow, which doesn't matter because the film picks off and it picks off hard, my other issue was just the music. Like, it wasn't the greatest, at least for me. And there was this particular score that was repeated throughout the film, and it was just straight garbage. And there were moments that they just crank up the volume for it, and you can't even hear the dialogue in some scenes. But like, there was an argument scene towards the end that I get why it's there. It worked for that scene. But towards the start, there was this particular scene that was just so distracting because you're hearing this, no offense to the person that composed it, this atrocious score. But like, get the balance right. But if that's the only problem with this film, you're fine. I guess you're fine. But overall, on an emotional level, this film just gets it spot on. No complaints by me. Everyone knew their assignment and went to the utmost echelon to pull it off. And on a technical level too, they took it straight out the park. The cast and the crew, my flowers to them. Like, no minute was wasted in this. And at over 2 hours, I had my questions initially the morning I was planning to go watch this movie. But it completely justifies that length and just flies by. And I got to celebrate the last 20 minutes again. Like, that was determining whether this film would be a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 for me. And it got it in the best way I could not possibly imagine. I was just left flabbergasted. And shout out to the use of slow motion in this film. This is how you do it. Zack Snyder, I hope you're taking notes. Please, if you have not watched this film, go watch it. It's really good. And it's up there really early in the year as one of the best films of 2024 already. Thank you for watching this video. Like and subscribe. Peace.
I'm trying to get closer, closer. Baby, you let me be your coaster. Sipping you slow, you feel the motion.